Okay, everyone. Let's come into our yogic seat. And I'm going to put all of you at home on mute. And if something happens where you can't hear me or, for any reason that you need to, you can come off of mute. But now I'm going to put you on mute so there's no distracting sounds. And I'm going to invite you to find a steady and comfortable yoga asana that invites a long and lifted spine, shoulders rolled back and down, heart open, rooting down into the earth, reaching up through the crown of the head to the sky. Take a deep breath in, fill slowly up, belly expands, ribs widen, chest lifts, feel that breath surrounding your heart. Pause at the top for a moment. Enjoy that experience of fullness, of aliveness. And then exhale with a sigh, letting yourself land here in a place of sanctuary. I'd like to begin today's practice with a poem that's perfect for today by Mary Oliver, and it's called The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? Just take a moment to breathe that question in for a moment. Take another deep yogic breath. Exhale slowly with an ujjayi sound, contracting the back of the throat just a little bit to slow down the breath. Empty out completely. And begin to invite in those long, deep yogic breaths. In and out through the nose, nice and slow and deep. When Mary Oliver asks this provocative question, tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? She's not asking us what we want to be when we grow up. She's not asking us what we want to achieve or acquire. She's not asking us what kind of social status we want, how much money we want to make, how much fame or recognition we want to receive for the work we do in the world. She's asking us what quality of being and mindfulness we want to cultivate. And in this beautiful poem, she tells us that her way of praying involves paying exquisite attention. It means slowing down. It means looking with fascination and awe at the worlds of wonder that all the having and doing and busyness causes us to miss. It means noticing the miracles that are present in our life every day if we simply pay attention. It also means having a deep respect for the ephemeral nature of our lives and all lives. And that's the preciousness of this life. Let your eyes open with a soft gaze and begin to transition into your child's pose. So remove the cushion that you're sitting on. And come into child. Reach your hands out long in front of you. Slowly let the sitting bones sink back to the heels. Let the heart melt down toward the earth. Let your breath stay long and slow and deep. And in your practice today, I invite you to bring that quality of presence and awe to all the sensations in your own body and to the movement of the energy within you. Pay exquisite attention to the arising and passing of mental states, of emotional states, as through that flow of emotion as you move through the postures and you engage mindfully with the flow of breath. In this ephemeral moment of your one wild and precious life. On the next inhale, let your body rise up from your child pose into your table and begin your cat-cow spinal waves. Staying in that spirit of paying exquisite attention. See what you can notice about your spine this morning that's new and different. Especially when we come into these movements where we're doing something that we've done many times before, it's easy to go on autopilot. But see if you can be in that spirit of discovery as you come into flexion and extension, syncing it up with your breath. And then bringing your spine to neutral, hands forward just a few inches so you have room to circle your hips, big wide circles. Breathing into tight places. Celebrating the sensations that arise with each circling. If my nose is running, it's not because I'm sick, it's because I just did a neti pot earlier. And it's all coming out. Circle the other way.
Jyoti, can you turn it up a little bit more?
Turn what lower?
Can you turn the volume up a little bit higher?
Higher. Okay.
Yeah, you're hard to hear.
Okay. Okay, is that a little bit better? Can you hear me now a little bit better? Okay, good. Thanks for letting me know. All right. And we're going to take it from the hip circling into a little deeper flexion and extension exploration. So come forward with your heart, bend your elbows, draw your shoulders back, roll onto the fronts of your thighs, bring the big toes together, the heels close to the buttocks or the low back area to really expand the front body, arching the back, looking up, opening the throat. Exhale, round into a nice deep cat stretch, maybe coming up onto fingertips and sink it back to child. And in your own way, at your own pace, exploring this deep extension. When the inhale, deep flexion on the exhale, rounding and melting back to child. Do that a couple more times. And then rising back up to table, curling the toes under, and press back to your downward facing dog. And taking your dog for a slow walk, Explore the sensations in the backs of the legs. Explore how your breath moves into those places as you direct your attention there. Find that lift in the navel, drawing it in and up. Find the widening of the sit bones and the lifting of the tail. And if it feels good and you've got the energy, you can take it into plank pose. Inhaling into plank, exhaling into downward facing dog. Just see what energy level your body is ready for today. It's warm, so you might want to take it more gently. And then taking it into a connecting vinyasa when you're ready, coming into your plank, lowering down knees, chest, chin. And just like that grasshopper in the poem, let your body take that shape of a grasshopper. Hands under the shoulders, elbows sticking back, wings, and drawing in close to your ribs. Inhale, take it into your cobra, plant the toes, lift through the chest, peel the shoulders back. If it feels good, you can take it into your snake pose, clasping your hands, keeping your feet planted. Big breath, enjoy the sensations in this one moment of your wild and precious life. Hands back under the shoulders, maybe taking a little more cobra lift if that feels good. Otherwise, you can stay in your baby cobra and just let your hands be a stabilizing aid here. And then exhale into a cat stretch, always taking the opposite movement of the spine. And find your way back to your downward facing dog. We're going to take it right into a pigeon pose to open the hips. And so I'm going to face you for a moment, and I'll mirror you. If you'd like to take it at a little more vigorous entry into pigeon would be lifting up into three-legged dog with those right toes, as I'm your mirror here, and drawing the knee into the chest, coming into a one-legged plank, rounding the back, drawing the nose toward the knee into a flying pigeon, and then letting that right knee sink back toward the wrist. Other option is always just to come down into table and just slide into your pigeon. So any way that feels good for you to get into your pigeon. And take a moment here in your pigeon to explore the sensations. First starting with a roly-poly pigeon. So just shifting the hips side to side, just inviting the hips to open, the glutes to stretch, and just breathe and explore and notice. And then squaring the hips and the shoulders, and if it feels supportive to you and you need to have something underneath your right buttock to stabilize you, you can do that. Finding dolphin waves. Undulations of the spine. And then coming down onto your forearms into a pigeon sphinx. You can either stay here or you can reach your hands out and come into a full resting pigeon. Another way to invite a little more sensation, a little more juice to this is to take your right foot and wiggle it a little closer to the upper left corner of your mat. So you're drawing your heel away from the opposite hip crease. One more breath here. And then sliding the elbows back into a pigeon sphinx. We're going to take it into a twist exploration here, okay? So your elbows are right underneath your shoulders. I invite you to take your right hand
and bring it to just a little bit in front of and beside your right knee so that your elbow remains bent 90 degrees. And you're just going to press the palm into the mat or the floor. And then pivot on the left elbow so that you grab your right knee with your left hand. You're going to press into the left elbow, press into the right hand to straighten the right arm so your spine begins to take a little twist, rolling the right shoulder open. And we'll take a few rounds of that. Releasing, bending the elbow, then straightening. Just exploring, opening into a twist here. And if you want to take it into a deeper twist, come up on your fingertips on your right hand. You get a little bit more room for that twist. And then holding here, pressing into the left elbow. Invite length from your hips, the spine telescoping out of the pelvic bowl, all the way out through the crown of the head. Rolling that right shoulder open, and then if it's available, reaching the right hand up to the sky. You're going to need to press firmly into your left elbow. If you want to take it into a bind, bring the back of that right hand to the left hip, rolling the shoulder and elbow open, look up at the sky. And feel a nice deep stretch in the glutes there. And just for a little more play, if it's available, see if you can take fingers 1 and 2, your peace fingers on the right hand, and grab your big toe, which is on the left side of your body. It's your right big toe, but it's on your left side. Can you grab your big toe here, taking it into a kind of a fun bind, and then releasing when you're ready, coming back up into your full expression of pigeon, and see what kind of response your body wants to enjoy here, either pressing back to down dog, or maybe coming back to table and taking cat-cow. See what feels good here. If you feel energetic and want to take it right through a vinyasa sequence, you can come into your plank and flow through the connecting vinyasa, meeting back in downward dog. Yeah. And then we're going to take it on the other side. So from your downward facing dog, if you did the 3-legged pigeon on the right side, you can do it on the left, lifting those toes high, melting the heart low. You're going to need to press down and forward into the hands to keep your shoulders back toward your hips. And then float it through, maybe taking that hovering pigeon that we did on the other side, if you did that. Drawing the nose toward the knee, getting that core engagement here, and then floating into your pigeon pose. The back leg, in this case the right leg, that thigh wants to be internally rotated enough so that your knee points straight down and all 5 toes are pressing into the mat. Take your roly-poly pigeon to start, breathing into that, exploring the sensations here, just massaging the glutes a little bit. And then squaring the hips and shoulders, taking your dolphin waves. Yeah. And then coming into either Sphinx arms or full resting pigeon. And perhaps exploring, juicing it up a little bit by wiggling those left toes a little closer to the upper right corner of your mat. If you do that, you want to also focus on squaring the hips so that the hips aren't opening out, the hip pointers facing to the right side of your mat. You want to have them facing forward, and if you're in that full fold, facing down toward the mat. And take this as a moment to check in with what's alive in you. In the mind, in the body, with the breath. Notice if there's any waves of emotion moving through you. Paying exquisite attention. And using the out-breath as a vehicle for allowing whatever's passing through to simply dissolve and release. Come back onto your forearms and we'll take that twist exploration. So start with a pigeon sphinx and then you can slide your left hand beside and a little bit in front of left knee, and then pivot on the right elbow. Firmly grab your knee, your left knee with your right hand, and do that press, twist, and release. Press and release. Just slowly warming up into spinal twist, maybe taking it onto fingertips if that feels a little more satisfying. And get a little bit more rotation that way. And then when you're ready, reaching the left hand to the sky, pressing firmly into that right elbow to give you some stability there. Maybe taking it into a bind, back of the hand to opposite hip. Roll the shoulder open, roll the elbow open, look up at the sky. And perhaps fingers 1 and 2 can grab your big toe, just for fun. All optional ways to play. Lengthening out through the crown of the head, and then releasing when you're ready, sliding the hands under the shoulders, lift up into your full expression of Ekapada Rajakapotasana, pigeon pose, maybe coming up on fingertips here, drawing shoulders back, and then palms come flat, press back into your downward facing dog. Feet walk between the hands, so, or you can take it as a hop if you enjoy that, to come into a forward fold and let it all hang out. Find any movements and sounds that invite a letting go. Let the head be loose, finding your yes and your no and your maybe. And try to stay as connected as you can between belly and thighs. So you might need to have a little more bend in the knees. You might also find that a block underneath your hands supports you a little bit better if the fingers are just kind of dangling. Sometimes it's helpful to have that block. And take a half lift, flat back, long spine, engaging the core to support that lengthening spine. Shoulders and hips line up, flat back, crown reaches forward. I'll come sideways so you can see the alignment. And exhale, fold. Take another half lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees, sit down in your chair, and bring the hands into whatever mudra feels good here, either prayer position or hands turned up, receiving grace, hands to the sky. Softening shoulders. Where can you soften and where do you need to strengthen? One more breath. And circle up slowly. Reach through the right, reach through the left, palms come together, hands return to the heart. Yeah. You know, I think it's gotten a little warm in here, warmer. So you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking if we close this curtain. I can leave the doors a little bit unlocked and we can close the curtain. Some of you at home might be practicing in air-conditioned spaces. Lucky you. We're doing hot yoga here today. Okay, so feet hip-width apart, arms reach and rise. I'm going to fix my screen here. We're going to take it into a half moon to stretch the side body. So interlace your fingers or grasp opposite wrists and come into your half moon. Pressing your hip out to the side. If you're mirroring me, you'll press your left hip out to the left and reach fingers over to the right. Take another deep breath in to expand through the rib cage, expand through the whole left side of the body. Exhale. Inhale up to center and other side. Take a couple of breaths here to invite expansion through the whole right side of the body. And notice what comes alive. Remember, this is a practice of paying exquisite attention. It's not Simon says do this, Simon says do that. Find how you can invite in the aliveness in your body. Inhale up to center, float the arms down. And you feel all that tingling in the arms? Yeah.
Circle the shoulders. And circle them forward. Interlace the fingers behind you, wide open heart, squeeze the shoulder blades toward the center of the back. Big breath in, we'll come into a standing yoga mudra, folding forward, keep the knees bent enough so your belly and thighs stay connected, hands reach to the sky, crown releases to the earth, and slowly lift the tailbone. Straighten the legs just a little more, but see if you can stay connected. Hands reach up and overhead, and then release the hands to frame the feet. Take another half lift, flat back, long spine, navel lifts in and up. Exhale, fold, frame the feet. We're gonna step back with the right foot into a low lunge, so a whole leg length, and lower the right knee down. If you need blocks under your hands or a knee pad under your knees, take a moment to set that up. Relax the shoulders, lengthen through the spine. Release the hips to the earth. Inner thighs toward the midline. Sweep up into your kneeling warrior. Big gesture of, and as the fingers reach the sky, it's that gesture of saying, yes, woohoo! Hands back behind you. Clasp your hands, open the heart. If it feels good, you can play with arching back, a little stability practice. And then release, frame that front foot, step back to plank, and I'm gonna invite you to flow through your connecting vinyasa to meet in down dog. So maybe that's knees, chest, chin. Maybe you're ready for a chaturanga up dog flow. Maybe you just wanna take a breath in child. If it's very hot in your space, it would be appropriate to take it more gently. Landing in downward dog, we're gonna step through with the right foot. If you'd like to take it into a three-legged dog, lift it high, maybe rolling the hips open to Kick-asana. Float that right foot through, lower right knee down, lower left knee down, slide the left knee back, melt the shoulders away from the ears as you lengthen through the spine. Root down through the pelvis, inner thighs toward the center, and sweep up into your kneeling warrior. Softening shoulders, opening heart, lifting through navel. Big breath in. Exhale, hands meet behind you. Inhale, opening the heart. Play with that stability practice if it serves you. And release. Frame the front foot. Step up into a half lift, flat back. Exhale, deep fold. Drop the hips halfway, bring the hands to prayer, take another breath in and out in your Utkatasana chair pose. And then rising up nice and slow, celebrating the release, and come back, hands return to the heart. Notice what's alive in you with another deep breath in and out. Inhale, arms reach and rise. Turn your heart, hands, and gaze to the sky. Exhale, take a slow dive, bow to the earth. Take a half lift, flat back, inhale. Exhale, fold, hands frame the feet. Step back with your left foot, low lunge again. And this time I'm going to invite you to slide the hands back a little bit and slide the hips back, straightening that right leg. So we're going to come into a runner stretch. Try pointing and flexing the foot for a moment to connect with the calf muscle, to invite a little more movement in the ankle and foot. Squaring the hips and shoulders, then leave your foot flexed, lengthen out, and bow down. Here's where I invite you to go for the juice. And let this be another practice of, in Kripalu Yoga, what we call inquiry. Just noticing what's alive in the body, in the mind, with the breath, energetically. And then rolling that right foot down. We're going to come back into lunge, plant the hands under the shoulders, and lift up into a high lunge. So you're pressing out through the back heel. Front knee firm over ankle. Place left palm down, right hand to the sky, and take it into a revolved side angle twist.
long and wide. Big breath in, exhale, release. Step it back into plank and flow it through in your own way, in your own time, through the connecting vinyasa sequence that serves you today. Taking your time, paying exquisite attention. Landing when you're ready in downward facing dog. See if your down dog feels different right now than it did the first round that we did at the beginning of our practice. We're going to step through with the left foot. So if you took a three-legged dog or kicked your asana here, you can take that here. And float that left foot through into a low lunge. Take a moment to soften through the shoulders and lengthen through the spine, and then draw the hips back. Keep the hands moving back too, maybe using blocks underneath your hands. You can slide your left heel forward a little bit and point and flex. And then leaving the toes flex, leg out, bow down, lead with the heart. And just let each exhale be an opportunity to melt into your edge here. The place where you can feel that strong sensation and feel that aliveness, but you're not pushing over the edge to the point of pain. It takes a certain cultivation of mindfulness, of awareness to respect that edge. Rolling the left foot down back into your lunge. We're going to transition into a high lunge now. Power up that back leg, press right palm under shoulder, left palm rises to the sky, take it into that twist. Long and wide. Exhale, release, float that left hand down, step up, half lift, flat back, firm core, and exhale, fold. Sit down in your chair, and let's see if you can hold it here for 3 breaths. So that paying exquisite attention in the moments where we feel challenged is really kind of the crux of the practice. Can you find a little lift in the edges of the mouth right here? After your 3rd breath, slowly releasing, enjoying the release, palms come together, and return to the heart. Yeah. Feel the reverberation of that sequence, that whole sequence that we've just done in your body. Hands down by your sides. Bring your feet as wide as your mat. We'll just do one more wide-legged, we'll do a little wide-legged sequence to open the hips a little bit. So from heel to heel, the length of one of your legs. Turn the toes out 45 degrees. Open up right through the heart center into your 5-pointed star. Big breath in as you expand out through your fingertips like you're embracing the world. On the exhale, coming into bent knees, bent elbows, goddess. And the outside of the edge of the thighs is going to draw back behind you. So you're going to feel that nice lengthening and stretch in the inner thighs. Sit down into it. Inhale, wide open, embracing the world. Exhale, goddess. Using your Ujjayi breath again. So we want to play with being able to bring the legs to parallel to the floor, if that feels okay with your knees. For some of you, you might want to take it more of a 45-degree angle, but if you can get nice way down into it, one more, open and hold. Ujjayi breath, once again, paying exquisite attention to what is arising and passing
in this magnificent moment of your one wild and precious life. Keeping the shoulders over the hips so we're not folding forward. You got a long back as if your back's against the wall. Opening out nice and wide. Oh yeah, that feels good. Pivot on the heels, toes turn straight ahead, outer edges of the feet plant down, so you're going to be a little pigeon-toed, and the outer edges of your feet are parallel to the short ends of your mat. Take a half forward bend, airplane arms. Feel the spine lengthen, tail to crown, shoulders in line with hips. And then as you're ready, hands can come down and take it into a full forward fold. And take a moment to explore here whatever feels good. Maybe you want to take it into a wide leg down dog. Maybe you want to take it into a twist, lifting one hand to the sky and then the other. Maybe you want to take it into a lizard lunge or a side lunge if that feels good for your knees. So take a moment to explore here where you can go in your word. It'll be your own personal moment of inquiry here. Yeah. And if you're doing something on one side, make sure you've started it on the other now. Your head can be or hands can be on a block if that's more helpful, makes it more accessible to you. You want to make sure that the hips are reaching back so that you're not losing your center of gravity here. Heels and toes both planted in the mat, on the mat. Half lift here, flat back. Pivot on the heels, toes turn out 45, bend the knees. We're going to round up through that goddess. Open up into that goddess one more time. Big breath in, and goddess embraces the world. Palms come together. Exhale down to the heart. Heel, toe, back to center. And just take a moment to shake out that sequence. I'd like to do a little balance play right now. Everybody still with me here? It's warm, I know. I'd like to invite you to explore the dancer pose with me. Some of you will find that doing dancer with a fingertip against the wall, I can come over here, either like this, just to stabilize yourself, or actually facing the wall about an arm's length. And the reason it's helpful to do it facing the wall is because you can explore that back bend and lift a little more easily. So there's a lot going on in the dancer pose. We're stretching the quad when we, let me just demonstrate the whole sequence so that we can make sure that we get all of the elements in there. Okay. So, to start, whether you're using your fingertip on the wall to the side or the front, you want to start by just drawing the heel close to the buttock. And you're going to notice a quad stretch right there. Quad stretch and muscles around the knees stretch. Shoulders are going to remain over hips, nice and long spine. The other hand comes up and you find this mudra, thumb and first finger. This is Dhyan Mudra, the mudra of wisdom. Palm turns up. This might be as far as you go, fixing your gaze into your drishti point. You want to unlock the standing knee so that there's a little micro bend, and then folding from the hip crease, kicking back as far as you fold forward. If you fold forward 3 inches, you're going to kick back 3 inches, kick back and up. If you fold forward a little more, kick back, up and back a little bit more, so that there's that balancing of the center of gravity. You might even need to bend your standing leg a little more. And you want to square your hips to the front of your space rather than letting your hip open out to the side. So you're getting a back bend, you're getting a heart opener, you're getting a whole stretch through the front body, you're getting a quad stretch here, and then when you kick back, you get that psoas stretch as well. as a balance practice. So I'm going to invite you to come into your expression of dancer. Remember that you don't want to just hinge from the hips and do this, because then you're getting no back bend. So you want to try to arch back and kick back so that you get even a little bit of front body stretch and back bend. And that's where holding onto the wall can give you a little bit of support to play with that. So you might want to decide to play with the balance part of it separately from when you explore the back bend part. And you might not be able to get a super deep back bend. Not like those figure skaters that we see that reach back for their leg over their head and spin around really fast. Might be just a little back bend, but if you're going to the edge of your range of motion, then you're getting all the benefit that you need. When you're ready, switch to the other side. See how it feels on the other side. And again, maybe just getting that quad stretch and balance practice right here might be enough for you today. Kicking back and up. You're also getting a stretch in the front of the chest and the shoulder and the upper arm side. Yeah, nice, Nikki. How does that feel? Yeah, good. Yeah, yeah. Good. How's that feel, Jane? Good. Okay, and coming back into your mountain pose. Just take a look, just feel the reverberation again. So a lot of times we want to move on to the next thing right away. And what I want to invite you to be mindful of is that every pose opens up your energy body to prana, not just the physical, the muscles and the joints and the tendons and all that, getting energy, getting physical stretch to them, physical strengthening, but there's also an energetic flooding into that area, into the nadis, the energy channels. And when we get still for a moment right after each practice sequence, we get to feel the reverberation, get to feel the buzz, what I call the prana buzz. So take a moment to tune into the sensations of that. Okay. And come down onto your knees, onto hands and knees. And if it's comfortable for you, you can sit on your heels for a moment, or you can sit on a block just to have a pause before we go on to the next part of our sequence, which is going to be one of my favorite hip openers, the frog pose. Now, I want to say that this pose may not be appropriate for everybody, so an alternative to this would be coming onto your back and doing bound angle pose, soles of the feet together, knees apart, and you can have your arms in those goddess arms. This is also called the reclining goddess. So you can always do this instead. But I'm going to demonstrate the full frog pose. And for those of you who have a mat, I have a cross mat, 2 mats here. If you don't have that, you're going to want to take your blanket and open it so that it's folded like so, and lay it down crossways in the center of your mat so that there's about 6 or 8 inches on either side of the edge of your mat. If your blanket has been folded, you may notice that there is a line, a crease across the middle. And that crease is going to help you, be a guide for you as to where to keep your knees. You're going to come into table with your knees on that crease. And if you don't have a crease, just approximate the center of your blanket. Palms underneath your shoulders. Then from here, I'm going to invite you to slide your knees as far apart as they will go. You're going to keep your legs in an L shape. And you're going to keep your knees in line with your hips. So you don't want the hips to come forward or too far back. You want the knees and the pelvis to stay in line. Once you've gone as far as you can go, you can try coming down into Sphinx arms. And take a few breaths to allow the knees to slide apart as far as they'll go. You're going to feel a deep hip rotation, external hip rotation, and inner thigh stretch. And it might be available for you to come down onto your belly and then come into frog arms, which are the same as goddess arms. But keeping your knees and hips in line, keeping your heels in line with your knees so your legs make that 90-degree angle shape. Reaching the pelvis, the front of the pelvis down toward the mat. If you find that your butt is sticking way up in the air, then it would be better to stay on your forearms like that. And just take a few breaths to breathe into this. There's a lot of strong sensation here, and of course you're always free to come out whenever you need to. This is a wonderful opportunity to use the Kripalu technology of Brfwa, B-R-F-W-A. B is breathe. So use your breath to send your energy right into the place where you feel the sensation strong. Focus on the breath being long and slow and deep. Notice if you are restricting in your breath. Find that ujjayi in the back of the throat, in and out through the nose. R stands for relax. So if there's a way that you can use the out-breath to release any areas of tension where you may be holding, where you don't need to be, see if you can find a place where you can find a deeper relaxation in the body. F stands for feel. So notice the sensations that are moving through you. W stands for watch or witness. So as if you are watching yourself in a movie, instead of being in it and identified with it, see if you can observe what's moving through you. Get a little distance from it. Become the awareness that is noticing energy moving through this body, emotion arising in this mind, thought arising in this mind. And allow, that's the A, just allowing the sensations to pass through. It is simply energy. When you're ready to come out, you can come back up onto your forearms if you were all the way down, or onto your palms, pressing into the palms, and walking the knees together back to table. Oh yeah, and from here, find your way onto your back. And it might be nourishing and nurturing here to give yourself a little massage by circling the knees. Just massaging the hips. Give it a little stir one way, a little stir the other way. Hugging the thighs in toward the chest, rocking side to side. And I'm going to invite you now to come into a spinal twist of your choice. Let me find a little gentler music. So it could be bent knee over straight leg if you enjoy that twist. Letting your arms be out at a T position, or perhaps one arm inviting that knee to come down on one side of you, inviting opposite shoulder to melt into the mat, looking in the opposite direction of your knee. Or you can have knees in L shape, revolve, what we call the revolved abdomen pose. Or some of you might want to take a little juicier twist, bringing the legs into eagle legs, coming into twisted root. And if you are going to do the revolved abdomen pose, you want to try to have your knees in line with your hips. So you can bring the knees all the way up there. And what I
what I want to invite you to do is put the block in between your legs. All right? You can even put this underneath so that it's nice and comfy. And take 3 long, deep breaths in this reclining twist. When you're ready to switch to the other side, slowly making that transition. And if you're in the revolved abdomen pose, knees aligned with hips, legs make an L shape. If there's space between your thighs, then that's a sign that you can either place a fist there, or if you have a block or blanket nearby, you can just place it in between your thighs, and that will allow you to soften and release into the pose a little more deeply. Turning your head in the opposite direction of your knees, 3 deep breaths. Excuse me. And as you're ready, I'm going to invite you to find your way into Shavasana. And if you need to place a blanket underneath your knees to take some of the tension away from the low back, you can do that. Let me know if I can set you up with a bolster or anything. Palms turned up. Backs of the hands resting comfortably on the floor beside you. The arms are about 45 degrees from the body. Your feet are going to be a little wider than your hips. Toes turn out 45 degrees. What can I do to help you be comfortable? Okay. Good. I have a little musical meditation for you. A song inspired by the opening poem that we did by Mary Oliver. So as you allow your body to just release into the earth, letting go of any control of the breath, I invite you to receive this reflection on paying attention to all of the moments of our one wild and precious life. Tell me what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, what you're gonna do with your one wild and precious life. What you're gonna do, what you're gonna do, what you gonna do with your one wild and precious
precious life. Golden sun slips down behind the purple hill. Colors fade so fast. Doesn't everything always die too soon? Is there anything that lasts? Tell me what you gonna do. What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? And I have fallen in the meadow on my knees. This is how I pray, to gaze with awe and wonder at the tiny and the vast, knowing all things slip away. Tell me what you gonna do. What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? So let me amble gently through these verdant fields. Let me walk lightly on this earth, with reverence for the miracle of every passing day, and for this precious human birth. Tell me what you gonna do. What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What you gonna do with your one wild and precious life? Take a deep breath in. Reach your hands back behind you and your toes in front of you. Long stretch like you're just waking up. Exhale. Draw the thighs in toward the belly. Wrap your hands around your legs. Give yourself an embrace. Roll over onto one side. Taking your time, I invite you to press up into a seated position. And before we formally close for meditation, I want to just invite you to practice with me a few rounds of a very useful pranayama practice, a breathing practice that is good for really hot weather. And it's called Shitali Pranayama. the Shitali breath, the cooling breath. And it involves a certain position of your tongue. Not everybody can do this, okay? You both can. But some of you at home might not be able to do this because genetically, there are some people that cannot make their tongue do this, which is sticking out your tongue and making a tube like a cannoli shell. And if your tongue won't do that, then you can do the same practice with just your teeth, just opening the mouth and touching the tips of your teeth together and sucking in the cool air through your teeth. You can even let the tongue roll the other way so that the breath comes in through the sides of the tongue. So find a way to do it so that you can feel that cool air coming in through your tongue. If you can do the tube sticking out, that is the traditional way to do it. Otherwise, find that modification. Long spine, open heart. What I'm going to invite you to do is to stick out the tongue, make that tube, and inhale through the tongue, through the mouth, through the hole in the tongue. So you feel that nice cool air. And then draw the tongue in, close the lips, pause for a moment, and exhale slowly through the nose. So visualize that warm breath, that excess heat in the body, breathing out through the nose, taking in cool air through the tongue. Close the lips, pause, exhale the warm air. So it's your body's own little air conditioning system. Inhale through the tube in the tongue, nice cooling breath. Close the lips. Exhale the warm air through the nose. 3 more rounds at your own pace. Anytime you feel excess heat in the body after a workout or on a very hot day, you can just take a few minutes to engage in this Shitali Pranayam, the cooling breath. And after you've released your last one, let's bring the palms together in front of the heart in gratitude for sharing this moment together in this one wild and precious life. Let's share the sound of Om. Namaste. Namaste. And we have a few people online staying with us. Wonderful. We will sit for 10 minutes. I will set the timer. I'll begin with a little guidance on just being mindful of the breath. And if you have a particular kind of meditation practice that you do, mantra practice, you're welcome to engage that on your own. So finding your steady and comfortable yoga asana. Let the eyes gently close. And there are some forms of meditation where the eyes are open but downcast. So if that's your practice, feel free to let the eyes be open. But find some softness in the face, the jaw, the muscles around the eyes. Let the shoulders be melted away from the ears, yet slightly drawn back so the heart stays open. Find a comfortable position for the hands. They can be face down on your thighs or palms turned up. You want to make sure they're drawn back enough toward the hips so that the shoulders are able to stay back. Take a moment to fine-tune your posture. Soften where you need to soften. And energize where you need to energize through lengthening the spine and opening the heart. Let the back of the neck belong. Take a moment to just bring your attention to the soundscape around you. Without getting engaged in the storyline of what those sounds are doing, who's making them, what they are. Just notice any sounds wafting through your awareness. Notice any sensations that you can become aware of in the body. Perhaps your bottom against your cushion or chair. The air enveloping your skin. Perhaps the even more subtle sensation of life force, prana, tingling, pulsing, moving through you. And then allow the attention to rest on the movement of your breath. Notice the place in your body where you notice the sensation of breath, either at the nostrils, in the belly, perhaps in the chest or throat. Releasing any control of the breath. Let the breath come to you in its own rhythm and pace. Just let the mind gently follow the rising and falling. You can use the practice of noting, a mental note, to connect with the inhale and the exhale. So on the in-breath, just mentally say, breathing in, or just in, and breathing out, or out. It's just a soft little voice in your consciousness. It invites you to come back again and again to the rhythm of your breathing. It's of the nature of the mind to wander into thought. So when that happens, easily, gently, inviting the awareness to come back to breathing in and breathing out. Meditation is a practice of beginning again and again and again. Thank you, everyone, for joining me practice today. Namaste. Have a beautiful day.